you've also written recently about Kyrsten Sinema and the reception that she's getting in Arizona. We know from polls that she's been doing steadily worse and worse amongst Arizona voters. I just saw one this week that had her at 8% among Arizona Democrats. But you also, you have a better read, I think, on how the party inside of the state is greeting her. What is the approach right now? What's the reception that she's getting?
The main thing, and our DC team actually did a great story about this a couple months back, is people who helped her on first, her House campaign, and then to help her get into the Senate and flip that seat, are really just, the word betrayal has come up a lot. The sense that she doesn't have to be doing what she's doing in this way. And I think a great example is look at how someone like Mark Kelly, her Democratic colleague in the Senate from Arizona, has voted. Mark Kelly, granted, he in terms of biography of being an actual astronaut and stuff, definitely has some sort of magical political powers that not everyone can just kind of walk up to a state like that with. But he's really been nowhere near the level of on the fence that Sinema has been with a lot of these key components of Biden's agenda. And Mark Kelly is the one who actually has to face re-election next. So even though, yes, Arizona has been a traditionally red state, the demographics have changed significantly. The amount of people moving into the state from all kinds of, New England, California, other solidly blue states, they bring their politics with them. And to win in Arizona does not require, I think, from the point of view of the people who've been working for Sinema on the campaign side, it simply doesn't require the level of kind of centrism and the kind of odes to the filibuster. And frankly, with Sinema, there's often just so much more of a lack of an explanation than reporters on Capitol Hill tend to get with Joe Manchin. So I think the fundamental frustration for the folks who either spoke with us for our story, or who have spoken with outlets like the Daily Beast and whatnot, like the recurring theme is that this is just kind of demoralizing for them because they put their heart and souls into this kind of a candidate, and they frankly didn't see this sort of kind of rightward lurch coming. But it's interesting to hear the different accounts, especially from people who some identify as kind of tried and true moderate Democrats. Some will say like, hey, I came to this knowing that I was going to support a candidate who's not going to be as far left as I am on a lot of issues. But even yet, they still feel really let down by what she's been doing in Congress. And I think that primary challenge is just becoming increasingly likely. Congressman Gago seems to be like the sort of, at least right now, the consensus frontrunner among Bernie Sanders campaign alumni and people who are already invested in this. But it's early, and I think that depending on how Biden's agenda fares in the Senate for the rest of this term, that primary climate could have more names added to the mix, could get a lot more intense than just the people who like your audience are paying attention to this day in and day out. I think a lot of people who may have voted for Sinema in Arizona are not even as up to date as we might expect with how she's been faring with this stuff. But when you're polling in single digits among your own party, that's clearly a red flag.
Yeah, that's not a good sign. I mean, people hate politicians, but that's pretty bad inside of your own party. And that's also, you alluded to the demographic shifts there. I mean, it was a close race in 2020, but Biden did win Arizona. And so it's interesting. I have a couple things I want to ask you first, so just so I don't forget this. So the people that you spoke to that say they feel betrayed, did they provide any explanation that they think why she's doing this? Do they think it is an honest, if wrong, calculation of where she needs to be politically to win re-election? Do they think it's about re-election at all? Do they think it's about the donors? Why do they think that she's changed so much?
Well, I wish I could tell you, but this was actually, we were just rounding up some of the kind of best quotes that were coming from recent stories about Sinema's campaign. And then we also pulled in a little bit of what a project I wasn't involved with from our DC bureau reporters had done, I think back over the late spring, early summer, about some of these budding frustrations with Sinema, and just kind of give people all right, here's what you need to know about this kind of growing discontent among people who have been dealing with her. So I believe most of these quotes came from a Vice story. And these are folks again who are less on the Capitol Hill side compared to the folks who spoke with with us at BI. But I think the very common theme is that even with the mindset of clearly there are going to be some tough votes or things we might not agree with, or some moderations that just realistically have to happen to get the ball moving in Washington, they just didn't see this kind of sideshow and singular blockage to what the president is trying to do. And granted, I think it's worth also just pointing out in all this coverage, I totally understand when Democrats get very frustrated. They're like, all this gets presented as Manchin and Sinema, Manchinima, whatever you want to combine them into, as this moderate wing of the Democratic Party is what's throwing the wrench into everything. And on a practical level, yes, because of the 50-50 tie in the Senate. But you got to remember that also, on so many of these items, there's just the Republican support is a non-starter, and in the kind of way we take that for granted now, I do think skews the perception of 100% of the problem falling on members like Manchin and Sinema. Sure. But if you're someone who was able to flip a red seat and get them elected and put your life into this, that's a different story. And I think that's why the frustration is so huge for them, because it's not like they just donated a little bit on Act Blue here and there and they got really nervous around election day. I mean, this was like months to over a year, 2 years of someone's life going into this, and to see it kind of go up in flames when you're tuning into the news coming out of Capitol Hill every day.
Yeah, and entirely possible that some people had worked on prior campaigns, so they might have known her career for quite some time. Well, we will see how that develops. Obviously, there's a lot of threats about primaries. She doesn't seem to be particularly worried about that yet. We'll see as we get closer to what is still many years off. But in any event, Jake, as always, we appreciate you joining us. Jake's work is available at Insider, so everyone go check it out. He publishes it regularly. Jake, thank you again.
Pleasure, as always. Thank you.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.